Are you ready to go back to normal? Are you ready to socialize again? What does normal even mean? Day 59. Dear Miya. That means it has been more than 40 days since I started this post-COVID 100-day plan to get myself back together. I think this plan is working. Like many of you who's watching this diary, in the beginning of 2020, I didn't see it coming. COVID threw a curveball at me, and I was in a stage of unknown, trying to figure things out on my own. The stay-home life can do a lot to you. You might feel extremely bored, upset, hopeless, and feeling like everything has came to a pause. But if you're an introvert like me, that might look completely different. Prior to 2020, I was running my wedding photography business with my husband, but always wondered what life would be like if I just chased my childhood dream to be an artist instead. In the middle of the pandemic, I started my art career in a brand new art account. I got my first commercial illustration commission, opened an Etsy shop, grew a supportive community on TikTok. I had the best time of my life in my own zone, away from all the noises, distractions, and the news. I escaped the ugly reality and created a world where I could hide in temporarily. I didn't have to FOMO, nor spending hours just to overthink on how others would judge my mismatched sneakers instead of proper Instagram-friendly, elegant heels. With my work coming to a pause, I had the time and energy to explore what my heart truly wanted. I even started working out every day. By the end of the year, I went from empty gym to having 6 packs.
So this is how you make it look like you have abs in every photo. You put your foot like that, you rotate it, and you go to the gym.
I can go on and on about how great that world was to me. But this video isn't about that. If you're curious about my journey creating art every day and growing on social media, DearMiya, please remind them to subscribe to this channel so they don't miss any new videos where I share about art tips and tips on how to start your business. Back to life. They say that the higher you fly, the harder you fall. For me, that was particularly true. But this isn't a story of how darkness felt like. That might be for another video. Dear Miya, I'm here ready to tell you how I'm pulling myself back up. I knew I had been hiding. I knew that I was running away from my adult responsibilities. I knew I chose to mute a lot of things, partially because I wanted to protect my energy, but also because I wasn't ready to cope with them just yet. In other words, I haven't learned how to live with the negative side of the world. I was simply avoiding it. Not long after my short-lived breeze of happiness came a long, dark cycle of burnout. And to make things even worse, I realized that I have to go out again. I had to face what I've been hiding from and go back to where I left off. The
reintegration social anxiety
was real. At the same time, although my art career has taken off, I was creating for the market, doing what my team told me to do instead of what I really wanted to do. I went from giving tips to others on how not to be lost to being the one who was lost. I know some of you must have experienced this, that dark hole. When things no longer made sense, and whether it made sense or not didn't even matter anymore. When you feel like the things that you used to love no longer piqued your interest. When you look into the mirror and you can only see an angry, cynical, dead soul, like a bottle of overly aged wine, full of bitterness. It wasn't all that bad in the beginning, but as an perfectionist, it was natural to go down the path of self-blaming, hopelessness, and frustration. Before it went down even further, thankfully, someone took action. And that someone was myself. Having spent an entire year during the pandemic to journal, self-reflect, and self-develop, I knew myself enough to find out what went wrong. I knew I was stuck somewhere. And although I wished to stay in my comfort zone, at home, not talking to anyone, I knew I just couldn't hide anymore. When I started to realize that I no longer had control of my life, I created this 100-day countdown. The initial goal was that by the end of the 100th day, BC would reopen, the world would return to normal, and I would be ready to face humanity once again. I gave myself 3 months to come out of the dark, find that fine balance between hating and loving people at the same time, and relearn how to live like a regular creature on this planet where social norm is a thing. I wanted to be very detailed in imagining the goal and the outcome of the plan, but loose on the exact dates, I would do certain things. It was a self-rescue plan with an internal deadline that was meant to add a little push and some intrinsic motivation. Day 1. I pretended that I was pro at bullet journaling. On my journal, I filled out this page where I just listed the priority of each stage of the progression. I broke it down to work and life, starting from June to September, assuming September would be the end of this plan, ranging from important and urgent, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, preparing for, and the ongoing / not important nor urgent. I wrote down exactly what I needed to do, things that I cared about, and things that I must do in order to adapt the social life post-reopening. I was very determined. I decorated this page so every time when I flip open this, I would feel even more motivated. The 100-day plan countdown was basically a desktop calendar that I purchased online. Each day when you flip it, you can also write down the date and the to-do lists on here. And you can write a little note as a mini journal. On every page, there'll be a short quote saying something inspirational. I try to decorate them as much as I can as well. You can even see a little time machine here, or the sand clock. The more I go through it, the less I needed that push, because that push then is built within me. Instead of achieving everything, I wanted to focus on a few things at a time. Day 3, I bought a camera, trying to vlog about how we plan and execute the photo shoots at work. Day 12, I started to draw what I like and not what I think others would like. Day 17, I started to OOTD again. Day 24, I printed a page filled with the best photos of myself.
Sex. Great ideas don't come from the intellectuality. This is the secret.
And I put it on the wall to remind myself that I am worthy. I may not be perfect, but I'm trying my best. Day 25. BC reopened already. And I was like, okay, GG. And decided to make this video and document my progress instead. Day 26. I forced myself to book a hair appointment and got my nails done. Day 27. I finally put on makeup and asked my husband to do a photo shoot for me to document the strange stage of my life.
就觉得好像拍完这样一组写真，就可以纪念一下去过的地方，还有看过的风景。
Day 34. I looked into the mirror and I started to see the sparkles again. Day 38. I convinced myself to go out and meet people. Despite feeling exhausted, I knew that positive energy and good vibes always go hand in hand. I made this 100-day plan a goal to meet my new self and to accept her bits by bits. Dear Miya, today I'm on to day 59. It has been a wild ride. I don't know where it will take me and what the end of this plan will look like, but I know that with growth, it always comes changes. You gain some, you lose some. And what I can do right now is to stay patient, stay positive, stay hopeful. I have to take baby steps and the universe will talk to me again. Being a grown-up means that no matter how hard life is, you just don't give up. Dear Miya, follow along my 100-day journey and get back on track with me.